Hello, today's video is for all of the spectators out there or the support crews who want to know how to use the map to be able to follow along in the most efficient manner. So let's dive in. One of the most frequent questions that we get asked is, how do I find my person amongst this? I'm only interested in a couple of people and I don't really want to see anyone else. The way that you do this is by using favorites. So, for example, if I wanted to see only Elizabeth and only Samuel, I can select all my favorites down here and simply click on the favorites button. And now that's all I'll see on the map, those two. If you want to show everybody again, simply come back to show all, and we've got everybody on there again. I'm just going to give you a little bit of an overview of what they're actually doing at this event. So if I scroll all the way out, you can see where the race route is. They've actually been racing for 3 days now, or some of them have. Some of them started all the way out here and they're running 231 kilometers non-stop back to Alice Springs. We had another group start yesterday from this point, and they're racing 128 kilometers all the way back. And then we had a final group start this morning and they're racing 65 kilometers back to Alice Springs. Perhaps of note, with this event that I'm looking at, they're actually carrying satellite trackers because this is a pretty remote region in Australia and there is very little, if any, mobile reception until they get into town. The satellite trackers they're carrying in this one are the Spot Gen 3, and they've been on 5-minute intervals and performing exceptionally well. You can see there are points of interest along the course that the race director has wanted on the map. If I hover over this one, it's the start. This one is Rocky Bar Gap, Fink River, Ormiston Gorge. So if you are a spectator and you are, for example, supporting someone, I think they've got a support at Ellery Creek, yes, because there's car access in there. You can also use this map to help you get around to the most important points out there. A lot of events will also use these checkpoints as timing points. In this event, they're not using the timing. And you can see that they've also given you a visual representation of, okay, the green is where the 128 kilometers is starting, and the blue is for our 65 kilometer competitors. Okay, let's narrow this down and have a look at some additional features here on the map for you. I'm just going to come up and click on over here, up here. There's generally a few different map overlays that you can look between. You'll see that this one's only got 2, but how impressive is that? I love our Outback. If you wanted to change between the two, a topo map where you've got some contours and some roads on there, or you're looking into, your satellite, that's there. It's always like a joy to look at, but it's also useful as well. For example, if I want to really zoom in on a location, let's choose this one in here. It's worth clicking between the different map bases because you can see with my satellite, I can actually zoom in a long way. There's a point where, yep, says, nope, you've gone too far, let's come back out. Whereas, for example, on the topo, there's not a lot of detail when I've scrolled in that far. So, well worth knowing that one, particularly if you're trying to get around. This is your zoom in or your zoom out, or you can do it in whichever way you like on your iPad or your phone. These are very useful. Basically, they're distance markers. So, and I'll tell you why this is really interesting. Generally, what we can do is we can click on here, click again, and you can see that that's approximately 16 kilometers. Now, your job, if you're watching one of these races, particularly if you're on the ground, is to be at the finish line. So let's have a look. A friend of mine's actually racing out there, Liz. We'll keep her as a favorite. Click on my favorites so that yep, there she is. And there's the finish line. And I might want to know, how far is it till she gets to the finish line? And I need to meet her out there. I'm going to click on this one. generally wobble my way around, and it's about 33 kilometers. Add another 5 at least for all the wobbles, but at least it gives you a little bit of an idea. A couple of tricks with this one are that you can double click to leave that there, and you can actually draw as many lines as you like. The X over here to turn it off. Down the bottom, we've got meter. Well, the default is going to meters, but you can actually change it to miles or potentially nautical miles if you're watching something out at sea. And the big thing is once you've used it, you'll see it actually stays on. So if I'm trying to click around the map now, I need to come back over here and turn it off for it to go off. So my X to turn it off, that one to turn it off, and I'm good to go. While we're using Liz as an example, I want to show you some additional information we can get about this person and why this is important. You'll see if I click on here and click on more, it's going to load up Liz's information and it shows me her route. So if I click on this one, I was there at 7:15. She was there at 7:15 this morning. This one, 5:21, etc., etc. I might be trying to work out, all right, Liz, how long until you get to the finish line? Let's come back out and show everybody. Let's go and find the leader, Mark. Hold on a sec. I'm going to make Mark a favorite as well, just to make this a little bit clearer. Right. One of the things you can do is I can actually look at this and think, gosh, Mark got to the finish line at 7:46 this morning. He was out near Liz at 10:14. Oh, goodness. No, that's Sorry, that's Liz's time. He was out here at 22:25. So Liz, yep, you've got a while till you get to the finish line. Keep going. You're doing an amazing job. While we're in here, using Liz again as an example, if I click on more, in here we get a little bit of information. These are some non-official times that she's coming through that have come off the tracker. If we're actually timing the event, there'll be more official times. She's been out there for 49 hours, 25 minutes. Fantastic. But you'll also see that we've got the option here, or you have the option to send her some trail mail, some support while she's out there slogging away. Some race directors will give them this information out on the course, so it's always worth leaving trail mail. Someone I did want to leave trail mail for was actually Mark Woods, so would use him as an example. Clicking on more to get up Mark's information. Mark is actually the race director of this event, and for the first time ever, he got to race it. And what's more, he won. So I think he deserves some congratulations. For me to leave him some trail mail, I'm going to come up to the little envelope here, click on it, find Mark. Where are you? There, number 26, or you can type in 26. And put your name, whatever it is that you want to say. Click on send, and now that will automatically be posted onto his profile, and he will get that message. There we go. Done. All right, while we were making our way down the left-hand side, I did just want to show you the key. Sometimes, and I'll turn them all on again to show you this one. Sometimes you will see a little icon above these. None of these have got them at the moment, I don't think. Nope, everything's tracking along okay. But basically, if you see a bed over the top of someone, what that means is that that tracker has signal, but they haven't moved for a while, which means it's likely that they're sleeping or they're resting. Other times the tracker may stop and it actually means that they don't have any signal. This could be, for example, if they're going through a big gully and there's no mobile reception if they're using GPRS devices, or they're going through an area with tree coverage and the satellite device isn't getting out any signal. The pin may stop for a while because it doesn't have any signal, and then it will jump forward once they get signal again. Poor location fix means that tracker is struggling to get signal. Now, if you see this on one of your runners out there and you're supporting, ask them to move their tracker to the top of their pack. Often when trackers have made their way to the bottom of the pack, we get this. Then we have obviously our different distances here. Next, let's just have a look at the top. There's more up here for you to play with. This one will show you their Facebook feed. Is Jared crossing the line so that can show you a bit more about what's going on, give you a bit more of a visual. It's very exciting. We have their Instagram account that actually clicks and goes to an outside link. I'm going to come back again. Trail mail, which I've already shown you. The next thing that I want to show you is the replay. You can use this to replay the race, see how the leaders got away, see how people are at the back are going, and particularly in a navigation event, it's always really interesting to see how teams spread out across the course and how that might be to their advantage. To use this, simply click on it, and it brings up a fairly simple slider across the bottom and moves everybody back to the start. Now, remember with this one, we had our 231 kilometer competitors here and then different starts for the different distances. All I have to do is hit play and I can speed things up or slow them down using my slider down the bottom. I can scroll in and see how people are moving. You might be wondering what the black pins are. The black pins are people who unfortunately didn't make the cutoff. So they've been moved into the retired category. We'll keep watching. This is the point that our 128 kilometre competitors started 24 hours after. The 231 kilometre competitors, there we go. They're up and running and they'll keep going all the way until we get to real time. To close this one off, simply press the X and now we're back onto live time. The last icon along here is to show you your position. So that will actually find your position from your phone and put your pin on the map. Obviously, you're the only one that can see that. Where that can be useful is for all sorts of reasons. For example, if you're coming into a support area in here and you're a little bit lost, you can actually turn your pin on and see where you are relative to the course. And you can also remember use your distance markers here to work out, okay, how far away am I from this particular point? So another little handy feature there. Sometimes there is an icon up here to turn on and off a video. If there's a video overlay across the top, we don't have that this time, but that one's what that one's for. Well, that's it from my end on how to use the map. I hope that you found it useful and that you enjoy your dot watch experience.